Have you noticed how many of these politicians are so far over their heads? This guy Newsom is unbelievably stupid and selfish. He lives one way while the people he rules over live another. But he's not the only one. Now, he was interviewed the other day by the Constipated News Network, and unvaccinated people don't have the right to put everyone else at danger. I thought that was quite a statement. Very profound. Let's take a listen, and I have a purpose in doing this, other than to annoy you. Go.
I want to put up on the screen the growth in cases. I've got the 6 weeks before the indoor mask mandate for vaccinated people ended on June 15th. And then you see the 6 weeks or so since. And
now, by the way, as a side comment, I guess Joe Biden's realizing it's not so easy to control a pandemic. All the cheap shots he took at Donald Trump, who had to deal with this from day one, brand new, without the equipment, without the PPE, without the vaccines and everything else. Joe Biden has all those things. And it's still not working out as perfectly as the Democrats suggested it would have if only they were in power. So every death going forward, I guess, is on Joe Biden's hands. Go ahead.
Of course, is this growth in cases. Is it time, Governor, to bring back a universal mask mandate?
Don't you love the media? None of these media hacks intend to live by any kind of a universal mask mandate. Mask mandates inside. Do they look like they're wearing masks inside? No, they don't. So this is a constant attack on the American people, pushing them around, bullying them, top down. It's unbelievable. You would think the media would be concerned about civil liberties, but not the media in America, because the media in America are corrupt. Go.
Regardless of vaccination status there in California?
Look, we don't even have to have that debate if we can just get everybody vaccinated that's not vaccinated. That's
all right. If we can just get everybody back. Why do all the liberals talk like this? Fauci, him, so forth. We can just get everybody vaccinated, needs to be vaccinated. We don't need to have that debate. Okay, this is where I wanted to stop. Why doesn't this reporter turn to the governor and say, well, Governor, people are pouring over the border from third world countries. They're coming here, they're dirt poor. The countries are dirt poor. They don't have vaccines. And they don't have the capacity to give vaccinations. The prediction is we're going to have over 2 million immigrants coming into this country illegally in 1 year alone. We have people who we cannot identify, we cannot test. In fact, under your party and under your president, Bobblehead Joe, you're moving people into the center of the United States and all over the United States. You're flying them and busing them and training them to all these places. We don't know anything about them. And then we tell them to come back in a few years and get in front of an administrative law judge so we can adjudicate your cases. How many of those people have the coronavirus? How many people have the Delta part of the new coronavirus? We don't have the foggiest idea. Now, I notice you keep talking about people getting vaccinated. Well, the CDC is out there saying maybe people are going to have to wear masks. Maybe even if you're vaccinated, you're going to have to wear a mask indoors, depending on the situation. Outdoors, depending on the situation, even if you're vaccinated. How come the CDC doesn't put out any directives about securing the border? The CDC put out a directive about people not having to pay rent. And these landlords were going broke during the pandemic, and they brought a federal lawsuit. And the federal court said, CDC, you don't have authority over whether people pay rent or not. So we have what I would call, and what I have called, sort of this medical fascism going on right now, coming out of Washington, D.C., where they think they can issue edicts about anything. Just wrap it in the pandemic or any kind of health issue. But I am very, very serious about this question. How come the CDC hasn't issued a requirement, a rule, that border be secure? Because people are pouring into this country by the hundreds of thousands, and certainly a significant percentage of them are not vaccinated, if not almost all of them. And a significant percentage of them have the virus or are quite capable of carrying the virus. So why isn't the CDC doing anything about that? Fauci, interview after interview after interview, he's not asked the same question. So you keep beating up on the American people. The American people have done a hell of a lot. They have sacrificed an enormous amount in response to these governors and these departments imposing their will, destroying their businesses, making them lose their homes and their jobs, and on and on and on. It's unbelievable. It's like with all the murder that's going on in this country. The policies of the Democrats in the inner city are killing people. They cut these police officers' budgets, and then Biden swings in with his bobblehead Joe. He swings in, and what does he say? Well, if they've only voted to bankrupt the country for the trillions of dollars I said that they should vote for, the states would have had money to pay for these police and the localities. It wasn't an issue of they didn't have money. They cut the budgets they had. You didn't hear a single Democrat mayor say, we need more money for the police. No, you heard them talk about defund or cut funding for police. It wasn't a request for more money from the federal government because they didn't have money. The money they budgeted, they slashed, remember? But that's like the American people when it comes to gun control. You have murderers in the street. You have recidivists. The chief of police in Washington, D.C. the other day said 87% recidivism rate. 87%? And so how do you fix that? Go after the gun dealers? Make law-abiding citizens turn in their guns? Have less bullets for their guns? That's not going to address the fact that there's criminals in the street. You see the NYPD releasing video of how people are being hunted down and brutalized. Their phones are being stolen. Their wallets and their purses are being stolen, particularly the elderly and the handicapped. One old woman had a walker. They beat the hell out of her. That's your mother. That's your grandmother. You saw a gentleman who was almost 70 years old. Guy tried to steal his phone. He barely resisted. He got the crap beat out of him. Broken nose, broken eye socket, lacerations. It's just unacceptable what's going on in this country. So it's not a matter of further regulating and disarming law-abiding citizens. That seems to me to be the opposite approach. Actually, law-abiding citizens should have access to carry laws where they can carry a weapon to defend themselves, given what's going on in this country. But I circle back to the virus. It's not the American citizen. The American citizen has done a great deal. You're people pouring over the border, who do not have access to vaccines and have not been vaccinated. We don't know who they are. We don't even know where they're coming from. They're being bussed all over the country, flown and trained all over the country. They're being let in. These films where gates are being opened to let illegal aliens in, opened by Border Patrol at the direction of somebody at the top, that is shocking. We saw one the other day, a video, 100 illegal aliens, most of them adult males, by the way, let into the country, and off they went. Off they went. But now they're talking about diseases. When I wrote in Liberty and Tyranny 12 and a half years ago in the immigration chapter, when I wrote that illegal aliens get a health pass, they get a health pass. That's truer today than ever before. And that's the phrase we need to start using. Backbenchers, hello, hello. Bobblehead Joe, that's what we need to start doing. Why do illegal aliens get a health pass, but American citizens are treated like they're prisoners? Ask yourself that question. It's really quite shocking when you think about it. All right, go ahead.
Using to get vaccinated, that's living vaccine free and impacting the rest of us. It's like drunk drivers. You don't have the right to go out and drink and drive and put everybody else.
I don't know about that. You pretty well locked down your state for a long time, except for your own family, of course. So it's like drunk drivers, ladies and gentlemen, which is a bizarre analogy. It doesn't even make any sense. But all right, let's continue. Go ahead.
California is one of the highest vaccination rates in America, but yet we're still seeing an increase because so many people,
I wonder why. Oh, highest vaccination rate in America, but we're still seeing an increase. Why? It's because they have the most porous border in the country, thanks to goofballs like this. Could that be one of the reasons? Wow, what are you, white supremacists? No, I'm just trying to figure it out. I mean, you have illegal immigrants coming across the border. Notice he doesn't bring it up. Notice the clown from CNN doesn't bring it up, because this is highly political. They're not going to bring it up. It undermines their agenda. Go ahead.
Are refusing to get vaccinated. So we're really trying to focus on ending this pandemic once and for all. Those non-pharmaceutical interventions like face coverings and face masking were necessary in the absence of vaccines, but with these vaccines, we can extinguish this virus once and for all and get it behind us and not worry about getting our kids.
And there's another point. I have a family member who can't take this vaccine because of a health issue she has. If she does take the vaccine, it really is dicey. And so I'm not the first to say this, but it's important. You need advice from your professional doctor. not some goofball, unhinged governor. Everybody get vaccinated, everybody get vaccinated. Everybody can't be vaccinated. So there will be a percentage of the population that's not vaccinated. What really is a turnoff here is the iron fist, the attempt to demonize people and so forth and so on, the unwillingness to recognize we have people coming into this country, open borders, for political Democrat Party purposes. You know, Biden has not lifted the international travel ban in this country because they don't want people flying into the country who aren't tested spreading this virus or the Delta variant. But it doesn't apply south of the border. It doesn't apply to the border. And I say south of the border, we have people coming into this country from all over the world south of the border, the Middle East, Africa, the Far East, of course, Central and South America. We have no idea what the hell's going on. But they're not concerned about it. Aren't you concerned about it? So California says we have the highest vaccination rate in the country. I don't know whether to believe this clown or not, but let's pretend he's right. So what's the problem, Governor? Well, it's the 25% who aren't vaccinated. Well, what percentage of illegal aliens are coming into your country, and what percentage of those people have the virus? I don't know. Right. How come you're not stopping them from coming in? I'm going to keep banging the table on this thing. I've been doing it since last week. I did it really hard on radio last night because I knew the backbenchers were, hey, that's an issue. And I knew they would pick it up, and that's important because it's a big deal. Go ahead.
To not worry about getting our kids safely back into in-person instruction or keeping our businesses open. We're encouraged by the local determinations as it relates to mask covering, mask wearing. But at the end of the day, the real focus here, get vaccinated so we can end this pandemic once and for all.
I get that.
And I also want to remind you, this is the party that said, when Trump was president of the United States, that they didn't trust vaccines. So they've influenced a lot of people not to get vaccinated. We're never going to be vaccinated. Why can't trust Trump and the Trump administration? And of course, it's private companies developing the vaccine. It's still the same red tape bureaucrats who are handling the approval processes. Trump was the one pushing them to get it done. Let's go, let's go, let's go, because he wanted to save lives, and he was very prescient on this issue. And then they turn around and say, okay, now Joe Biden's president. Now everybody get vaccinated right away, right away, right away. The politics, not just from Biden and his party, but the politics from Fauci and his ilk has been a disaster. People do not trust them. And for good reason. That's why you talk to your own doctor to make these decisions. But people do not trust them. You're never going to get 100% of anything, let alone vaccination. So what are they going to do now? Shut down our businesses? And it's an amazing thing to watch government shut down businesses. I read a piece today that teachers across the country averaged a 3% increase last year, even though the vast majority of them never saw the inside of a classroom. A 3% increase in my magnificent county of Loudoun, which you're quite familiar with these days. I think they got a 7% increase because they know how to teach critical race theory, boy. They're really good at it. They know how to resist parents. They know how to push Marxism. We've never seen anything like it. That's fantastic. They really deserve a bigger increase. Now you know that the unions and most of their members, not all, but most, are at war with your children and society.
Want to see more? Sign up for LevinTV.